Hey there, I'm Dayna Johnson, dental practice management expert, certified Dentrix trainer, and founder of Navoni, revolutionizing the dental industry through innovation and strategic leadership. It wasn't long ago that I lived in your shoes, navigating the daily challenges of managing a dental practice with the hopes and dreams of having a productive schedule, money in the bank, and getting home on time to my sweet daughter. After 25 years working in the dental practice and 17 years as a certified Dentrix trainer, I found my life's work, helping dental teams one-on-one, optimizing their systems and software. If you are looking to create the thriving dental practice you have always dreamed of and empower your high-performing dental team, you are in the right place. Let's get started.
Hey, my friends. Okay, so last week I kind of kicked off the dental patient journey series, and I kind of just laid the groundwork for this upcoming few podcasts where we're going to be talking about the pre-visit, the day of the visit, and the after visit. Okay, so I also talked about how I am doing in-person Dentrix user meetings all over the country, kind of with that same dental patient journey theme, and helping you and your team really optimize your systems for peak productivity. And, that's what I'm really going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into the pre-visit checklist. I kind of preempted that I was going to talk about that today. And thinking about a little bit more about how you can move your scramble time into preparation time, because that's the biggest pushback I get is, well, Dayna, I don't have time to do anything ahead of the patient walking in the door. But if you are better prepared for the patient walking in the door, it will save you a ton of time when the patient is here for their appointment, in the sense of being better prepared for building a treatment presentation, or being better prepared for any kind of forms that the patient needs to fill out, or anything that comes up. If you're better prepared, then you will be less stressed out, less overwhelmed. You'll be better to take on the day. I mean, it's just a much better feeling when you are prepared. Another pushback I get is, well, Dayna, what if the patient doesn't show up? And I'm like, okay, what if they don't? I mean, let's think about it. I would much rather you prepare for best case scenario than worst case scenario. I would much rather you be prepared for that patient walking in the door with the hopes and dreams that they do show up than worrying about no-shows, okay? Don't worry about no-shows. Be prepared, because if you are better prepared for your patients every single day, you will build better relationships, you will have more loyal patients, and they won't no-show because they know that you've got your shit together and you're going to be ready for them as soon as they walk in the door. So if we build a culture of preparation instead of, oh, well, they might not show up anyway. I mean, I would much rather have a culture of, yes, let's cheer on our patients for showing up every single day. So that's kind of where I want to start, is that pre-visit checklist, so that not only are you better prepared, but also you have a checklist that you're working off of so that you don't miss anything, because there are certain details that you may have for certain types of patients or certain types of procedures. So what I would like for you to do is, when you get back to your office, if you're driving and listening to this, then maybe, put in your headphones and listen to it again when you have time to maybe write a few things down, because I would like for you to build your own checklist. Now, I could send you a checklist. Yes, I could send you a checklist. However, your checklist may be different than mine. And so I could build you this big long checklist and you could remove off the things that don't apply to you. But why not just build your own? I mean, it's not going to take you that much time. So here are some ideas of things that you will want to be prepared for before the patient walks in the door. Number one is insurance verification. I know it's a pain. It's a pain. It's the thorn in your side every single day. I know. But here's the deal. You at least need to know if they have the same insurance. You at least need to know if they're eligible, if they still have the same insurance that they had 4 to 6 months ago when they were in your office last time. That is the bare minimum, because if you miss this step, if you don't have the correct insurance in your Dentrix database, then your claims are going to deny. You're not going to be able to give them a treatment estimate. And then you're going to spend time scrambling because you have to resubmit a claim that was denied because they weren't eligible. Then you have to call up the patient or text them and find out what their insurance is. So bare minimum is we need to know, do they have the same insurance? Now, if you want to go a little bit farther, which I do recommend, is how much of their maximum have they used? And have they met their deductible? I mean, those are pretty simple things that we can figure out either with an automated insurance eligibility platform, which there are several to choose from. If you want me to give you my favorites, please reach out to me directly. So if you have an insurance eligibility platform that is checking eligibility automatically, like 7 days in advance, they are at least going to be able to tell you what the maximum is, how much they've used, have they met their deductible. Now, if you want to go a little bit farther, then we can start to find out, what does this plan cover percentage-wise? Is it a copay plan? Is it a fee schedule plan? Things like that. You can also then dive into history if you really want to dive deeper. Now, of course, that's going to take a little bit more time. I'm not saying that you need to dive deeper into the history unless you're doing some kind of a, complex treatment plan where you might need to find out what their history is on crowns or things like that. Please do not waste your time finding out if the patient has fluoride benefits. I mean, it's a waste of time for you to be on the phone or check the website to find out if fluoride is covered for adults or something like that. So if there are certain procedures that you really need to know, like, does this plan cover fluoride? You don't know. A lot of times you don't know all of those details, but we at least want to know if they have the same insurance and, what the maximum is, how much they've used, have they met their deductible, maybe some basic coverage percentages. That will at least get you off the tee, okay? That will at least make sure that when the patient walks in the door and you submit that claim for that patient tomorrow, at least the claim is not going to deny because you have checked the eligibility. Now, if the patient comes out of hygiene and you need to do a treatment plan estimate, then you may have to dive into the insurance a little bit deeper while the patient is there. That's very possible, okay? But at least it's not going to take you as much time. Okay, another thing that you may need to prepare for the patient walking in is, do they have any patient forms that need to be filled out? So patient forms might be number 2 on your checklist, your pre-visit checklist. Now, another thing is patient forms can also be automated. I love automation. Anytime you can automate anything, it is a win-win for you and your patient. So can you automate patient forms into your appointment reminders, or can you set it up to where your forms are expired so it automatically sends out the forms link? If you don't have automation set up in your office, is there a way that you can just submit or text the patient your forms link things like that. So however you get your electronic forms out to your patients, that could be another part of your pre-visit checklist, because the more we're prepared for the patient walking in, if the patient fills out their health history before they walk in the door, now that saves your hygienist time during the hygiene visit. They can spend more time on patient education. They can spend more time on maybe doing treatment planning, all those kinds of things. Anytime we can get the patient forms filled out prior to the patient walking in the door, that is a win-win for everyone. Nobody wants to be handed a blank piece of paper on a clipboard in a reception room and watch the patient fill out forms for 20 minutes, okay? Nobody wants that. The patient doesn't want it. The office doesn't want it. Those forms processes are ancient history, okay? We have, every third-party vendor that does email and text messaging out there now has a way of doing electronic forms for your patients. So let's get it done. All right. I'll be right back.
Did you know that you could increase your team's productivity by up to 200% if you had a formal team training program in place? And businesses that do have a formal team training program in place also enjoy up to a 24% increase in profit margin. If you want to learn how and book a call with me, click on the show notes and book a free discovery call with me, and we will talk all about it.
All right, next on your new patient or on your patient checklist, your pre-visit checklist would be specifically for new patients. I think I do like to see a new patient welcome go out to the new patients. So as soon as a new patient lands on your appointment book, or if you have new patients on your schedule over the next couple of days or maybe next week, that you are sending them a new patient welcome. That could be automated as well. It could be a new patient text or an email welcoming them to your practice, gives them a little bit of information about your practice. It could include forms, all those things. So that could be another thing on your pre-visit checklist is, do I have all my details for my new patients? If you are checking existing records, that could also be on your pre-visit checklist. Confirmations. We have to make sure that our patients are confirmed for the next day. Could also be automated. Now, if you are only getting 70 or 80% of your patients confirming through text or email, you may have to pick up the phone and do it old school. But however, we do want to make sure that those patients are confirmed. Now, if your practice is requiring a credit card on file, that could be part of your checklist. I have had several offices over the past few months start to implement a process of having a credit card on file in order to schedule an appointment. So that could be something that is now part of your pre-visit checklist. Is their credit card still active or is it expired? Pre-med could be on your pre-visit checklist. Does the patient need pre-med? Did we already phone it in? If they don't need pre-med anymore, do we have that letter from their surgeon on file, their orthopedic surgeon on file? So the pre-med is determined by the medical doctor. It is not determined by your practice. So whatever the AMA says about pre-med, it is patient by patient. So the orthopedic surgeon is responsible for deciding whether or not that patient requires pre-med or not. So if the patient says, I don't need pre-med anymore, I would recommend that you have a letter on file from the orthopedic surgeon. So make sure that you have all those records in place. So if you need to call in pre-med for the patient, make sure that could be something that needs to be on your pre-visit checklist. Now, if you are a practice that does surgeries, maybe you're an oral surgery practice, making sure that you have all your consent forms on file. You may want to make sure if you have an implant surgery scheduled for tomorrow that you have all of the proper consent forms either ready to go, or if you can send them to the patient through a text message or an email, you could be better prepared for the patient if they're able to review those consent forms before they walk in the door. And then maybe you just have them sign them when they walk in the door. So you could send them a pre-text or a pre-email saying, we're looking forward to your appointment tomorrow. Please make sure that you have reviewed our consent forms. Maybe you have to phone in some pre-medication or maybe some sedatives or something if you're doing a surgery procedure, but maybe they need a driver. So if you're a surgery practice, like an oral surgery practice, you may have a bigger checklist than a general practice. But whatever you need to do to prepare for that patient, we want to make sure that we go through the checklist and make sure that we are ready for tomorrow. And because it will save you time, it will reduce stress, it will help you have a better workflow throughout the day because you won't have those unexpected things like patients walking in the door for their appointment with new insurance, only to find out that now they're on an HMO plan and they have to go to a specific provider. I mean, that would be worst case scenario is the patient actually walks in and they have insurance that you can't even bill, So we do want to make sure that we are not only taking care of ourselves for that more efficient workflow, but we're also helping our patients to understand their benefits and helping them to make sure that we do have all of those forms and their health records up to date and ready to go, because we are a healthcare facility and we have to treat it like that. So that's the pre-visit checklist. I hope that you have started to write down some things for yours and you can get it implemented as soon as possible. All right. In our next session, next podcast, we are going to be diving into the day of the visit. So super excited for that. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. I look forward to watching your journey of becoming a high-performing dental team.